the whole body positivity thing is fair enough. It's fair enough. I mean, you know, we don't ever want to be the same. And the whole size zero. Remember size zero when everyone was going on about that? No one talks about that anymore, do they? Size zero. That was big back in the day. Everyone's talking about size zero. You know. I mean, Louise Redknapp, the little documentary trying to go size zero. Yeah, it was the big talk. But now, apparently, obesity is what everyone wants to talk about these days. Or it being a bad thing to say. I like more meat on the bone, you know. And, you know, we don't want people being size zero. No, not good. I want people to feel good about themselves. Yes. But problem is, it seems like it's going to go down a path of where you won't be able to say the word fat anymore, possibly. That's what it seems like. It seems like that's going to be, put in the derogatory terms box and soon to be outlawed, like many other words. I ain't having that. I'm not having it. And also, to point out that being obese isn't healthy it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a problem. But what this, I don't want to make another video on this sort of thing, but it just keeps cropping up, and I just think, what is this? What is with this? It seems like it's just another political agenda. Like each side is trying to lasso in as many groups as they can, and then they sort of just create groups. I mean, it's like, now fat people are part of an oppressed group. Do you know what I mean? When they weren't before, it's like, how many groups can we create and how many of them can we get on our side? And I'm not having that either. That's something else I'm not having. So this is, of course it's in The Guardian, my favourite place to find nonsense. Yeah, it is. I know from painful experience how poisonous the debate around obesity is. Now, of course, as I've said before, someone's experiences of pain, I will listen and I will respect it, but it doesn't mean you won't be criticised, and what you say won't be criticised, okay? Just so you know. Right, so look, yes, we must tackle obesity. Well, I'm glad you agree. But let's do it without the kind of heartless reporting and hurtful language that held me back. Now, I don't know how hurtful language can hold you back. I think... I'm getting to it more. The debate around obesity has been rekindled recently following proclamations by Tory leadership candidates. Well, they had to have some topical spin on it. How can we crowbar in the Tory leadership candidates into an article about being fat? It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. Will they be able to crowbar Brexit into it and white supremacy? They always meet the challenge, so let's see. But many commentators who speak on the subject seem to have no sensitivity to how the language or imagery they use fuels hurtful perceptions that obese people are lazy, inhuman, or a burden. Well, I don't know about the inhuman bit. The mass of statistics being thrown around dehumanizes individuals, many of whom already know what to do and are trying their best to do it. Well, good for you. Should foods with higher sugar content be taxed more? Boris Johnson, who looks certain to be our next Prime Minister, doesn't seem to think so. And he's boldly called for a review, even though there is already one underway. Well, there's already one, Boris. I don't know if they should be taxed more. Sugar is one of the number one contributors to, weight gain. To be bad weight gain, not like gaining hench muscles like myself. No, it does contribute to obesity. I don't think taxing it is the way forward. It's like they just tax everything if it's bad for you. It's just an excuse. It's like when they put every year cigarette gets more expensive. Put tax on alcohol. Oh, it's bad for you. So like when you complain about it, no one listens to you because they're like, oh well, it's your fault for liking those things, isn't it? Well, it's your fault for liking sugar. We sort of just accept it. Whereas it's pretty much extorting people with addictions. It's fucked out drug gangster shit, done by the government. So that's nice, isn't it? But what has bothered me most is the way the debate has been conducted. The way the media speaks about obesity only exasperates the problem. And I know this because I used to be obese. I remember hitting nearly 20 stone on the scale at my height of 5'6". Probably a bowling ball. This was a dangerous weight, but I had been dieting all my life. At the age of 1, I was already heavier than most. Doctors told my mum that she should start feeding me differently to the advice given by the health visitor. Yeah, I ate healthily, nothing was processed, and I was active and happy, but for whatever reason, I was on the bigger side. We just have to take your word for it, don't we? I hear this quite often. I know there are certain reasons why people are fat that can have got nothing to do with all the crap you shove into your face. But I don't know anything about it, to be honest, and I can only take your word for it. So, to borrow a phrase, my obesity ate at me. What may have begun as a genetic predisposition to storing fat turned into something that deeply affected my mental health. The two are not causal. Of course, in other words, I don't think I was anxious and depressed because I was the size I was, but I do think the way society talked about and treated my condition did cause lasting psychological harm. Well, with that kind of thinking, it's like, yeah, people will make you feel a certain way because you look a certain way, because people are, just general pieces of shit, just as a rule of thumb, especially groups of people. People on their own are fine. Groups of them, terrible. Just brings out the worst of humanity when they get into big, horrid groups. Groupthink is not good. It's not clever. That's why groups need a strong general who goes, shut it. But groups don't usually have that. But to blame, it's like, it's like an old thing, isn't it? Saying, it's not me, it's society. Society made me. It's like, look, it's, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know how to tiptoe around that kind of thing. Talked and treated my condition. I mean, you could say that about, like heroin addiction. Society will not be kind upon heroin addicts. Generally it's like, ugh. You see someone on road, yeah, and they're just skagged out their face. They're all gaunt and. Scabs all over them, picking up cigarette butts off the floor, asking you for 50p. And generally you're like, ugh. I mean, what, are you supposed to go, oh? It's just like, ugh, isn't it? It's like, oh, get away, fuck off. Like what, do you want society to suddenly just be more tolerant every time a smackhead asks you for 50p? I mean, what would you want? Like, what do you want, like? I get it, but it's like, come on. We all supposed. It's leading down a path where we're all supposed to just tiptoe around everybody, going, sorry. Sorry. Are you looking at my fat? No, I'm not. No, I'm in a wheelchair. I didn't even notice. It's like, come on. At school, I hated swimming and felt bigger and more self-conscious than all the other girls. Okay, so you're saying you were. So 1 minute you're like you were fine, you weren't anxious and depressed because of the size you were, but then in the next sentence it's like I felt self-conscious than all the other girls. I felt. Did they make you feel, or did you realise it yourself? And I would go to summer sports camps What are you, American? To desperately try to change my shape so that it couldn't be one of the taunts aimed at me by bullies. I joined a gym when I was 11, agreed to see a dietitian age 15. I remember being a teenager and going to shops, only to find that as a size 16, the clothes were hidden at the back or on different floors, well away from the shop windows. Oh, well, society has made you a monster. Really? Do you need to add that bit? They really stuck the boot in when I got to size 20. Okay, well, you should have known. I mean, at size 16, you should have gone, oh, this fucking sucks. But you went all the way to size 20. I apologize. I just make jokes all the time. Then clothes became more expensive than the same item in a smaller size. Ouch. Whenever a newspaper carried a headline about the obesity crisis and how much it cost the NHS, I would think, not only am I fat and ugly, like everyone says, I am also a burden to the state. Right? Do you know what? That's on you. Right? How you feel about what people say and how you interpret. If you read a headline and feel like you're a burden to the state, you know, I mean, possibly you are. It's on you. It's on you how you feel about stuff. It really is. Right? You ever had therapy? It's on you. It's on you at the end of the day how you feel about stuff. It's completely up to you. You know, of course there are disorders and, you know, depression that changes the way your brain operates, obviously. But in general, you know, if you say you're fine, you know, I'm mentally fine. Like it's on you how you interpret stuff. It really is. You know, you can't expect. People expect too much from everybody else. They really do. You should expect little, and then you get loads more. You get more when you expect little, because everything's like, oh, that's nice. Oh, how wonderful. Like, it's a wonderful way. You wake up in the morning and go, not expecting much today. I don't expect anything from anybody or anything. You know, but not like in a negative way. You say just in a calm. I don't, you know, it's cool. I wake up today. I don't expect anything. I don't want nothing from anybody. I don't expect anything from anybody. And then suddenly, it's like a giving party. You're like, my God, people are so wonderful. It really does work. Okay, this is free advice. This is free. Okay, this is free. On the news, there were pictures of people like me wandering past the camera, which zoomed in on rubbing fines and muffin tops. Meanwhile, a thin, perfectly coiffed newsreader would describe how obesity meant an increased risk of cancer, lower fertility, heightened risk of diabetes. Well, it's a visual medium. They need to focus on something. You know, this is how filming stuff works. You know, unless you want the news to suddenly become really abstract. If you wanted just an abstract news, do you want the news just to be just an abstract news channel? Like today, we're talking about a bombing in Kabul, but it's like a video of a hummingbird. Fucking, you know, I don't know. You know, you're talking about the AIDS crisis, but they just show a video of a horse painted blue. You know, here's a horse painted blue. We're going to talk about AIDS. You know, that's the kind of shit I do, right? But I'm a creative person. This is the news. This is for people just to look at and go, right, I get it. You know, you need to chill out on that one. Anyway, increased risk of cancer, low fertility, heightened risk of diabetes. Well, more reasons to, you know, get on the treadmill. Every time I saw one of these reports, I felt my heart puncture. Try harder, they seem to say to me. And if you fail society, not just yourself. Again, that's really on you. You do sound like a moaner. You're being very moany right now. You're just like, oh, you feel, but I will fail your society and not just yourself. Like, you're really taking a lot on board. Like, when they talk about, like, how much it costs the NHS, like, it's just to make a point about things. Of, like, you know, because people whinge about other stuff that costs money. You know, people whinge about, look, here's an example. If people are whinging about, you know, migrants, you know, bleeding the NHS dry, you know, then someone will go, well, fat people do more of it than that. You know, it's just making a point, isn't it? There was no recognition that the images and the tone of the debate itself were hurtful and setting me and others like me back. Well, they're not thinking about it. It's not all about you, is it? It's just not all about you. My goodness, like, come on. It's not all about you and your fucking feelings. You choose how you feel a lot of the time, unless you've got a problem. Do you have a problem you need to share with me? Oh, it's setting me back. Well, that's your fault. Like, it's on you. Like, where is personal responsibility? Where has it gone? Is the court system going to be changed now? Is it? Is no one going to go to jail anymore? I'm going to go, well, you know, society made me feel this way, so I stabbed someone. I just stabbed this geezer in the head. I was like, fuck him. Boom. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that it? Is that where you want to go? The judge goes, well, you know, we should have thought about your feelings. Everybody. It's everyone's fault except yours. Everybody should have been better to you. And you can't be responsible for being a lunatic. It was everyone else's fault, right? What do you want? Is that what you want? You want court just to be an in-out system. The jails are free. They just get turned into zoos and daycare centres. Theme park, Laser Quest. Go down Belmarsh for Laser Quest because there's no one in jail anymore because no one's got any responsibility. Is that what you want? Okay. As an adult, having overcome serious and debilitating depressive episodes. Now, you didn't say depression, you're saying depressive episodes, okay? My dad used to go through depressive episodes, and you know, he was a very worryful man. I was ready to make a massive change, and after a year and a half of careful clinical consultation, decided to get a gastric sleeve operation. Was the way to go. I had 200 tiny staples. Oh, I'm not interested in all that stuff. Yeah, if you're interested in that sort of thing, you know, fine. Is there an epidemic of obesity not just in the UK but across the world? Certainly. That is factual. Well, I'm glad we agree. Do we need to do something about it? Absolutely. Do I support something like a sugar tax? Actually, I do. Losing weight is hard, and I welcome any evidence-based intervention that helps everyone make good choices. It won't work, like I said. You raise the price of heroin, more people can get robbed. There's an example for you why that doesn't work. But no one ever talks about the shape of the debate itself. My plea to those who are engaged in it is please take care. Think about those who might be listening, many of whom are trying hard to do the right thing. Do you need to use the pictures you do to illustrate a piece? Can you avoid words that can be triggering, like fat? No, we're not going to avoid those words, as I mentioned at the beginning. No. No. It is what it is. End of discussion. As a description of a person, when instead more clinical terms like overweight. It's like, she's overweight. They're going to have that problem with that? Are you fucking kidding me? You fat. Overweight. Like, fat sounds better than overweight. I'd rather be called, oh, you're fat than you're overweight. It's like, I'm over? Oh, shit. I'm fat? Fat's like a bit more subjective, isn't it? Like, that's a fat ass. Which is a compliment. Like, shut up. No. Or obese could be better. Do you think obese? Would you rather be called fat or obese? What would you rather? Someone said, you know, your mum's always honest with you. Is your mum honest with you? Or do you not have a mum? I apologise. The next best thing. The next thing. Darling, you're looking very obese lately. Like, come on. You're being very silly now. You don't even know what you're talking about anymore. You've lost the plot. You're tired. Go to bed. An overweight person has a higher fat-to-muscle ratio, yes, but they are not fat. I'm done with you. Social media platforms are terrible for this kind of abuse. If you should ever feel compelled, as someone who has never had to deal with having to lose weight, to say, just eat less or do some exercise, to someone who is, check yourself. Losing weight, even with the help of the operation I had, remains the hardest thing I have ever done. And the thing I am most proud of. It is unacceptable that others should be put off from making positive choices about their own bodies by the judgment of media and the lack of empathy in our society. Well, you went and did it, and apparently with all the problems that are going on because of society telling you, you're like, what are you talking about? You actually did it. It didn't prevent you from doing it, did it? Because you did it. What are you talking about? I'm not seeing it. What are you going on about? Like, and what do you want? What do you want? What do you want from me? I have nothing but respect for anyone who grapples with their weight. Culturally, we should do the same, because occasionally, and especially when it hits the news again, I am taken right back to that time when I too was struggling. Alright, you want to regulate the news from saying things? No, not having it. Layla Moran is a Liberal Democrat MP for Oxford, West and Aberdeen. No, not having it. Shush. No, I know what you're trying to do. and it's an emphatic no from me. It's a no. No, 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 no.